All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:31. Take a look at the disclosure. So this way we can get to it. All right. All right. What up, everybody? It is 6:31. It is April 15th, just like that, halfway through April. Another weekend down. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. Definitely a little complicated. A lot of news flow out there. I'm not going to claim to be a geopolitical analyst. It feels like as a market technician or as a trader, at some times we're oil analysts, gold analysts, we're Washington analysts. We all think what we are. The bottom line is, we all maneuver the markets in a way that, are conducive to our risk tolerance. Bottom line is what looks like came out of this weekend is, Iran saved face. They they sent 300 plus missiles into Israel, knowing they were going to get 99% of them will get blown up. And now, they said that they're done. And now Israel can't do anything because they said they're done. So now if Israel does something, they look like the bad guys. And now if Iran does something different, then Israel can do something, blah, blah, blah. P.S. The crazy thing is, not to talk politics again, but, I don't know how many years ago when Obama sent billions of dollars to Iran in the middle of the night, and then Biden did something like that recently too, to make all these missiles, and then we send money to Israel for the Iron Dome. So bottom line is everyone making all these missiles are making a lot of money. The people who control the contracts for the missiles are making a lot of money, and we're getting taxed 50%, and nothing happens. Anyway, but at least everyone's safe or something like that. It just, whatever. We control what we can control, and that's our process, our plan, and how we interact with our families and community. And let me say hello to some of my dogs. So we got Don in the house. We got Tracy in the house. We got EK in the house. We got Jose in the house. What up, Jose from Caracas? We got Atlanta in the house. We got Andre in the house. We got a lot of people tuning in for a new week. We got Austin. So, here we are. Futures are up 20, 25 handles. People like, Red Dog, why are the futures up? Kind of because what I just said. The unknown is known. Markets don't like unknowns. And bottom line is the retaliation happened. It was a lob. They told the world pretty much what was happening, when it was going to happen. Why do you think on Friday, France don't travel to Israel, U.S. don't travel to Israel, and P.S. They did what they did, and thank goodness we do have the Iron Dome there, and no one got really hurt. And now we move on. And now here we are, ready to trade the market. So what we have to know is, if you look here at the chart of the SPYs, how much of Friday was the unknown of what could happen over the weekend in the Middle East, or how much of it was that rates are rising, and the economy is still moving along, and inflation is really, really sticky as we head into earnings season, and we just had a big move in the first quarter, and how much do we need to correct? So we'll have to see this morning how much of today's bounce back holds or not. This is the SPYs. Remember, the SPYs last week was playing and playing and playing with 512. And then finally on Friday, it broke below 512. It was actually a decent short there. We made some money short when it did so. And then, it didn't fall apart, but here we are below the 21 day and the 50 day. And for me, in my process, when we're below the 21 day, I have risk down, because you never know what's going to happen. That means the market's getting faultier. And sometimes you break below, you come above, you break below, you come back above, and it's annoying and choppy, and you lose money either which way. So, down 30 handles would have been a better setup coming in today than up 25 handles. And some people are like, well, Red Dog, we could just short the bounce. If you tried shorting the bounce, on last Thursday, the SPYs went from 512 to 520. That was a pretty damn big bounce. So I would say, coming in this week, right now, we're bouncing 20. The key, I guess, would be, can the bears reject price around this 515.80? That's, where the moving average is starting to curl in. You're above the 821 day this entire time. Now all of a sudden rallies in the SPYs could be sold, and this is Friday's low. So we'll see. Right now we're above this 512. Does it hold it? If not, maybe we fade prior to that. If they push the market a little bit, you have 515.82, and then once again you look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart looked as if it could be rolling over a bit. We got below the 8 day, after a huge move, the big ascending channel. We closed below a prior low, below 511, 512. But, again, the weekend craziness wasn't as crazy as some would have thought. So that's why we're bouncing back. So we'll see, if it holds. What up, Tony? So this is 511, 512. The spies are a little bit above it now, 513-ish. So do they want to play with the shorts for a day? Do they want to burn off some of the premium that people had as a hedge? We'll see. At this point, I am in more day trading mode. Last week, I did get beat up a little bit on Thursday into Friday. Wasn't fun on Thursday. It felt as if the market was going to hold 512, and you had Amazon at a new all-time high. You had Google at an all-time high. It felt like Microsoft and Meta were on their way, and they just had a blanket sell all day on on Friday. So I got out of the way. Nvidia feels like best in breed again, but it's hard to take longs and exposure into a weekend when you don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see how things play out this week, and I'm going to just take it a little slower. So if you go to the Qs still look fine. The Qs are still sitting in this channel. The Qs didn't even break below the channel. So we'll see what happens here. This is 7 weeks now of sideways action with not a lot of progress, but you've had some decent moves in some stocks. So we'll see. This 441, 442-ish area is kind of the middle of the channel. So we'll see if prices get rejected there. Right now, the Qs are a little bit below it. So if the Qs want to push to 441, 442, maybe you could fade a little bit there. But if it gets above it, then all of a sudden you have empty space here to 446, and we'll see. IWM, I'm not even going to get it to. It's just like an avoid. And then on Friday, I did say that I was selling the rest of my silver, which I did. So now I have no silver. I have to figure out how to re-engage there. And I pretty much called the top in gold after, calling a huge rally for this year. And here you have, a pretty big topping tail. I'm not claiming to be a genius or this metal friggin' guru, but you had a really nice pattern. This was a spot to be long at 193-ish. Remember, I said we can get to 2,400 in gold. Here was your nice consolidation after a big move, and now you have a big wide range bar that's going to probably need some time to work off. Went to 225. You look here at the monthly chart. I was 220. Sorry, was a target and went above it. And then you had a little bit of breakout failure, fever break. So this was when you have to be really excited about a sector right in here, not up there. That's where you're taking some profits off. But anyway, I did sell a lot of stocks, health minded, but I have a lot of different accounts. So we can get to that. So I'm going to focus on Nvidia still. Excuse me. You have this channel here. If you remember last week, Nvidia finally started to show some relative strength again. So that got us, there was a great trade in Nvidia last week. You didn't need to be getting a new all-time high. You didn't need the market breaking out. You just needed to look at the relative strength in Nvidia on Wednesday. That was a really nice trade. That was when the market was coming in. That was when I was on the Cavuto show. And then Thursday gave you, a little time to buy it too when it got above, this little spot here of 874. I remember writing that in. So now what? It's up today, which is cool. But I don't own Nvidia today. It's up 11. So the question is, how do you re-enter it? And will it need to hang in this inside range for a little bit to then clear this at some point? If Nvidia gets above 901 or 907, chances are the market's not that weak. It's letting leaders be leaders, and that's what Nvidia is. It's a leader. AMD's got faultier. SMCI is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but Nvidia gave you a really nice 2-day move. Those 2-day moves could make your whole week and whole month if you catch them right. And now it's up 11. So we'll see. Does Nvidia hold the early gains or fade? That could give us some clues to, to what's it called, to the spies and the Qs a little bit. So I will be watching that. SMCI also, not the best, chart right now, but looks decent. Gave you a 2-day move, came in a little bit. It's probably up a little. 945 was resistance. Everyone was pointing to this, head and shoulders pattern that wound up holding support. So we'll see what happens here. People like, is Apple back? Is Apple back? Red Dog, Apple, Apple, Apple. I don't know. Why is Apple down 2 today? I don't know. Apple gave us a great 2-day trade, or for a lot of people. You had this huge day one, okay, big candle on Thursday, and if you took it home long, you could have been, you could have bought it, bought red to green type trade. And not only did it give you a red to green type trade, it went all the way to 178. And if you remember, I did tweet out that 178, 180 would be a better sell than a buy. Anyway, and now Apple is down 2. I don't know. Is it because the news that the U.S. government's giving Samsung, it's like $6 billion for chips? Why are we giving Samsung $6 billion for chips? Anyway, but so Apple's down to 174.28. That's probably this was stronger than other things. So that's probably a little just not fun for some traders out there. If you felt that Apple is going to be like the safety vehicle. So we'll see this 174-ish holds. Then some people are like, hey, Red Dog, Tesla's cutting 10% bad iPhone sales, bad Apple shipment. All right, everyone kind of knows that. All right, thank you. But see, that's why you guys are great. Robert Ziegler says iPhone sales down 10% year over year. Apple shipments are down. Yeah, okay. So maybe that's the reason. But yeah, Apple's got to change the narrative. So anyway, Tesla, people are like, wait, aren't layoffs good for tech? A year or two ago, the market wanted layoffs. Like remember when Meta announced layoffs, Meta took off. Every company announced layoffs because they expanded way too much during the pandemic. But right now in 2024, when Tesla's trading still at a very high juicy PE, they don't, they want Tesla to have growth again, not layoffs, and they don't want to grow through cost cutting. So anyway, Tesla's been very broken. We'll see what it does today. It's down $1 or so while the market's up. So if you happen to be in Tesla still, you got to give it to this like 167. You have a little bit of a pocket pivot, but Tesla has been broken. I've been very, very, very selective / not over trading Tesla or doing what I used to do ever since it broke here at 265. That was a 2-day move that got every active guy out of Tesla. Now it's down here and Tesla's down $120. Can Tesla go red to green today? Maybe, maybe like, oh, that's priced in. So I'll watch it. But again, you got to take your trades and run like a thief with Tesla lately, long and short. There hasn't been that much continuity there. So see if 167-ish holds. So I would see if 167-ish holds on Tesla, write that down. I would see if Apple holds, what do we say, 174-ish. You can now this is probably more important to draw the line in this way, versus the Thursday's high was important on Friday, not as important today. This isn't as important either. And then really here, this is where the moving averages are. So it's a bunch. If this 172.50 doesn't hold, then it kind of negates this whole thing, and it's back to being more of a laggard / headwind. But we'll see. What do you guys? Oh, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a pain. I'm losing money in Bitcoin. I've been trying to buy options for a move above that 73,000 in Bitcoin, and it seems like it's taking its time. It had a big move down Friday, and then this weekend kind of gave you some clues about the risk, right? Iran bombed where the missiles go out, and Bitcoin got beat up to the downside to 60,000, and then once Iran came out with a statement saying we're done, just we're saving face, we're gonna send off billions of missiles that we know are gonna get knocked down, but now we could be okay. That's when Bitcoin then bounced back to 65,000. ARM's a pain in the butt. I want to see something real quickly here. I want to see what Bitcoin is. It's not that interesting. It's more of a pain in the butt, still trying to hang in there. What just happened to, it's not coming up. All right. Let's go back to here real quick. So anyway, I'm not very excited about today. I'm sorry. I wish I could. Oh, there you go. I wish I could, feel or sound more exciting, but I'm excited. It's a new week. Okay, let's get excited. It's a new week. Earnings season's in 2 weeks, so we're gonna get some movement. The spies are still in its range. A little corrective phase doesn't hurt anybody. Actually, this Bitcoin is still just in this. If you're a lower end of the channel buyer, this was just 61,000-ish. It just held. It's still going sideways. I guess you still can't get too upset about Bitcoin. It's just building a huge upper channel that at some point maybe you could take that out. So this did hold. ARM. Okay, you want me to do ARM? ARM is still fine. ARM is still building this big upper channel. ARM is going to need the big dog to start getting better. It's going to need Nvidia to get back above 900. It's going to need Nvidia to make a move above 974 before this nice upper channel gets taken out to the upside. So we'll see. What's ARM doing today? I bet you ARM is it's up 84 cents. All right, and Nvidia is still up 11 in the channel. Apple's down 2. A lot of mixed action, right? Tesla's down $1.25. Apple's down 2. Nvidia is up with the futures. At least it's showing leadership again. ARM, not a bad pattern, but it's just building. Gold and silver need time. Bitcoin probably needs time. The market itself, we'll see what happens here. Just looked like it was rolling over. And obviously, with the weekend out of the way and an unknown turning into a known, we'll see what happens here. We'll see for this week. This should be an inflection point. This 515.82. If the sellers have control and if the sellers are going to make a move below Friday's low 509, they probably don't let it get too much above there. So if you want to put on some kind of hedge to your portfolio, into this 515 area, maybe puts are cheaper to go out a week or two if you think we're going to go lower, if you think we've been going sideways like we've been doing in tech for 7 weeks, and that at some point, we're going to, make another move higher, then we'll see what happens with the leadership moves in like in Amazon and Google, a Meta, a Microsoft, and etc. Amazon, Amazon's probably fine. It just made an all-time high, and the market was weaker on Friday, and it was a good. I had the 187.5 calls. Now I'm kind of I have no Amazon on right now. It's up $1.13, 187.26. So if that might be something that we can get back in with, but there's no real setup there. There's no tight, juicy setup to make a new move or an all-time high pivot to get through. But it is something to watch. It is best in breed, and it's been trending. So Amazon is definitely on the MDB, Snow, Datadog, Mario. Those guys are just kind of like it's a bottom feeder trade. You're buying versus a level. There's no momentum there. So it's fine if you want to trade them. Like you look at Snow, you have it's gotten obviously annihilated. Okay, now you have this lower level that either is just a bounce to be sold, or hey, maybe it gets a little bit of traction. Snow, I saw a lot of insider buying, so maybe from 235 down to here, this is a lower level trade. I lower level trades are fine because at least you could you can measure your risk versus the lower level, and it's compact. I like upper flags and new all-time high trades and this and that, but obviously when you're in a market that's not giving you that, you got to find different types of trades. So okay, this looks fairly decent and has some room back to the moving averages if you're there. As far as Oxy is concerned, it's still a power play. It gave a bit of a loose wide, push where it seems like it's gonna need some time. This is when we were buying Oxy in the 60s. We're down here at 58. And although you look at the weekly chart, there's definitely some room, but it's just again a trickier setup. So in conclusion, we'll see what happens. We'll see if today's early strength holds. There probably will be a bunch of different day trades. But again, you got to take it slow because you can't just short up 20, 25 handles because there's room to push, like I showed you, to the 515 area in the spies. But you can't buy the open because you could work yourself into positions in the first hour, and then all of a sudden we roll over in the end of the day, and all of a sudden trade it down, and you're all of a sudden stuck. So It is what it is. All right, guys, 6:51. I got to jump. I got like 30, 40 charts to do, and I'm going to take it slow today. I'm going to try and keep the FOMO down and see, if we can make a few $1,000s just actively trading and see how that goes. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you. Hopefully, there's a little bit more clarity as we go into this week, and there's just more conducive setups. Like right now, we're looking for setups. I'm looking for setups. This isn't a great setup for me. So I'm like, oh well, I'm going to short this up open. I'm like, okay, you can short the up open. I'll wait for the market to show me that there's real weakness to fade into, because the last thing I want to do is get caught like some of the guys got caught on Thursday. People, I'm going to short into resistance, and then the SPYs went $8 before falling off the last 10 minutes of the day and into the down move on Friday. So let's just keep it real, boys and girls, and everyone out there. And thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you guys a little bit later, and I'll post some charts.